she's kind of entering this conversation where she's pretty good all the time. You know, her winning a title is not surprising to anyone. I think it's, you know, it's now almost surprising that she hadn't won one because her quality has been so good so often. And again, she is just not scared to go against the top players. For some reason, what she does, he missed a lot of time with the knee. Came back, played pretty well on the grass, made a couple finals, and obviously the quarters of Wimbledon. One, it's good to see him winning again, because then when he played, the knee against Zverev in the quarters of Wimbledon didn't quite look right.
Alex Ayala has done it again, and this time the tennis world isn't just talking about a win, it's talking about a shift in power. After her stunning run at the Washington Open, one of the most respected voices in tennis history, Andy Roddick, has stepped forward with a declaration that has sent shockwaves through the WTA. According to Roddick, this is no longer a conversation about potential. This is Ayala's time to reign, and he's not backing down from that statement. Roddick made it clear on his podcast that Alex Ayala has entered a discussion most young players never even get close to, being considered among the best players on the WTA Tour, not for one match, not for one tournament, but consistently, over time. He reportedly emphasized that this isn't about a hot streak or a lucky bracket. This is about a player who has built a body of work that forces even the sport's biggest names to take notice.
She is able, like, they have to be annoyed because they never get the same shot in the same spot. She's very good at switching directions, right? All they want to do is step up and go 1, 2, especially against someone they feel like they might have more power than. It doesn't serve big. She's so good at kind of redirecting off a pace. Like, she has a real...
What stood out most in Roddick's comments was his breakdown of why Ayala is so difficult to beat. He pointed out that opponents often walk into matches against her believing they can simply overpower her, relying on raw strength to push through. But according to Roddick, that plan falls apart almost immediately. Ayala's ability to change directions mid-rally, to shift the angle of a point when her opponent least expects it, is what makes her so hard to read. He reportedly described watching some of the tour's biggest hitters completely lose their rhythm against her, unable to find any consistency once she starts dictating the terms of the exchange. That, he said, is what causes the kind of mental breakdown you see when a heavily favored player suddenly can't find their game. Roddick didn't hold back when addressing where he believes Ayala belongs. He was firm in saying she has already shown she belongs among the top tier of the WTA, and he found it almost strange that, up until Washington, she had only claimed one tour-level title despite consistently performing at that level. In his eyes, the trophy count hadn't caught up to the talent yet, and Washington was the moment that gap started closing. He also praised her willingness to take on anyone in front of her. Ayala has entered many of her biggest matches as the clear underdog, yet she has never shown hesitation stepping onto the court against elite competition, whether that's Coco Gauff, Elena Rybakina, or Jessica Pegula. Roddick pointed to her results against top 10 players as proof that this isn't a fluke or a favorable draw pattern. She has gone toe-to-toe with the very best and beaten them, and according to Roddick, results like that speak louder than rankings ever could.
I don't even think it's like a one-time thing where you're surprised. Like, she's now entering the phase where you're not judging a singular performance and saying, that's exciting because that's the ceiling. Like, and that's what... She's now in the consistency game where we kind of expect her to be pretty good all the time. And now it's, am I going to do it every week? And that's when you start talking about a top 10 player.
Bringing up her Miami run from last season, Roddick acknowledged that plenty of people doubted her afterward. There was a narrative floating around that she had simply caught fire for one tournament, and the real test would be whether she could sustain that level or fade back into the pack. According to Roddick, Ayala has answered that question emphatically. She hasn't gone away. If anything, she's gotten sharper, and he believes the doubters have run out of arguments. He was also clear about what separates good players from great ones. Great players, in his view, keep making a difference over the long haul, not just in isolated bursts. He pointed to Ayala's overall body of work as evidence that she fits that mold, someone who is ready to compete with anyone on tour at any given moment. That readiness, he said, is a rare trait, one that most players on the circuit simply don't have. When it came to the Washington Open specifically, Roddick's praise reached another level. He broke down just how demanding the path through a 500-level event can be, especially with the level of competition Ayala had to face across the draw. Getting through that gauntlet and coming out with the title was, in his words, remarkable. What made it even more impressive to him was the final. Ayala beat Jessica Pegula on a hard court, the exact surface where Pegula has built her reputation as one of the most dangerous players in the world. Taking down an opponent on their strongest terrain, according to Roddick, says everything about where Ayala's game currently stands.
Was fantastic, and going through that draw, I mean, at a not 1,000 or not slam, that's big. Beating Jess on a hard court in the U.S., I mean, that's
6-0 in the third also.
Roddick wasn't the only major voice weighing in. Former British #1 Greg Rusedski also spoke out, and he was just as enthusiastic. He reportedly called Ayala one of the best things to happen to the WTA Tour in a long time, describing her as a genuine ray of light for a sport that has been searching for its next breakout star. According to Rusedski, the WTA has needed a player capable of carrying that superstar status, and he believes Ayala is firmly in that conversation now, not just because of how she plays, but because of how she carries herself on and off the court. Rusedski reportedly went further, saying Ayala might be one of the toughest players on tour to beat mentally. He pointed to her composure under pressure as something that stands out even among established veterans, saying she rarely looks rattled even when matches get tight. He did note that her serve still has some rough edges, but he was quick to add that these are minor technical tweaks rather than fundamental flaws. Once those small adjustments are ironed out, he believes she has everything needed to be a dominant force on tour for years to come.
Mentally so strong, made the adjustments after the rain break. Technically, the serve looks very good. There's only like a few little small tweaks, and it can be an excellent serve. But you went through the list of players that she beat. Incredible list of players. Olympic champion in the first round, then defending champion. Then you got a player like Svitolina, who's having a great season after becoming a mom. Osaka, former world #1, and Pegula right now, the hottest American player on the tour. So you don't get a stronger draw than that to win 5 matches.
Reaction to Ayala's Washington Open triumph didn't stop with Roddick and Rusedski either. Several other respected figures from the sport chimed in following her win over Pegula. Former world #1 Chris Evert reportedly praised the composure Ayala showed in a rain-delayed final, noting how difficult it is for younger players to manage long breaks in high-pressure matches without losing their focus, and how Ayala seemed to handle it better than players twice her age. Martina Navratilova also reportedly weighed in, pointing to Ayala's tactical maturity as something that usually takes years to develop, and suggesting that her ability to read opponents and adjust mid-match puts her ahead of schedule compared to most rising stars in the sport's recent history.
To Eala in the way that she took it to Pegula. She was absolutely fearless. She was so tough early in points, and I think that's what really made the difference. So solid on her serves, on her return. She backed everything up so well today.
Taken together, the reaction from this group of legends paints a picture of a player who has firmly arrived. What makes it even more significant is that these aren't casual observers handing out generic praise. These are people who understand exactly what it takes to compete and win at the highest level, and they are choosing to speak up specifically because of what they're seeing from Ayala right now. For a long time, questions lingered about whether Ayala could turn flashes of brilliance into consistent results at the top level. The Washington Open, combined with her win over one of the tour's most dangerous hard-court competitors, feels like the answer to that question. And with voices like Roddick, Rusedski, Evert, and Navratilova now openly discussing her as a future face of the sport, the pressure and the expectations around her are only going to grow from here. The real question now is whether this becomes the turning point people are already calling it, or just another chapter in a story that keeps getting bigger. Either way, the tennis world is watching Alex Ayala more closely than ever, and after Washington, nobody is doubting how far she can go. If you've been following Ayala's rise, you already know this run has been building for a while, and Washington might just be the moment everything clicks into place. Drop a comment below and let us know where you think this puts her heading into the rest of the season, and whether you believe she can keep this level up against the very best on tour. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of her matches or the reactions from the biggest names in tennis. And if you enjoyed breaking this one down with us, hit that like button before you go. It genuinely helps this channel keep growing.